to welcome you once again. I want to quickly take us through account reconciliation and reporting. Account reconciliation, as we all know, in a layman language, is all about reconciling, harmonizing two records that come from different sources. In a simple way, if you are running a bank account, what you keep is a cash book. Then you want to reconcile it with the bank statement that the bank is giving you. Likewise, for us here, EBS-RCM represents the Lagos State Government cash book, because that is where receipts are generated to taxpayers. While the bank statements, we want to compare the two together. The purpose of this comparison is to achieve two things. One, on the part of Lagos State, we want to be sure that every kobo paid by taxpayers enter the government. On the part of taxpayer, we want to ensure that you are paid, you must get value for what you paid for. If I have paid and I needed a service from Lagos State, if I present that receipt, the receipt should be valid. That is basically why we need to do reconciliation. So what we do is we do an auto-reconciliation in view of the volume of transaction we now do. You and I can easily do our reconciliation with our bank by just picking. Because how many transactions do we run in a month? Some of us, when we go to bank, we just remove all our salaries and bring it straight. That transaction is one of for a particular bank. For your savings account, you will have like 3 or 4. But here we're talking of transaction that runs into thousands. Not only that, we are talking of several accounts. We are talking of daily, we are talking of land charges, we are talking of last man, we are talking of VIO and all that. That's about revenue accounts. We're also talking about expenditure accounts and revenue core. So in view of the volume, what we've designed is we download from the database, which is EBS-RCM, all the transactions for a particular bank. We do it bank by bank. First bank, we have a particular officer that is in charge. WEMA, for all the banks that are collecting agent for Lagos State. After you download, we have downloaded, because automatically it's expected that if a customer walks into the bank, makes payment, if you actually process the payments, the transaction should reflect in the EBS-RCM database. But that is the only place you can generate an auto receipt. E-receipt. So after we have downloaded that one, put it on one side, we also request, it is part of the MOU signed. Banks are supposed to bring their bank statements for us to do comparison. So we also collect what we call a soft copy of that statement. So we put the two side by side. We do exercise duty of care. That's what I always tell people. You can't just say they have sent me soft copy and I begin to do brrr. You want to be sure that what you are having as soft copy you've not been tampered with. How do we ensure this? We ensure that the balance, the soft copy we collect, they have what we call running balances. If you take your bank statement, you have the opening balance. If you have made withdrawal, there will be a transaction on the debit side. If you have made lodgement, there will be a transaction on the credit side. At the end of those two transactions, you should have what is called your closing balance. Those balances at the extreme end are what we call running balances. So if you can easily detect whether a bank statement has been tampered when you put your opening balance, you had your deposits and you deduct your withdrawals. And the balance you're having is not giving you what you should have, then you know that something is wrong somewhere. That is one. Apart from collecting the soft copies, We also collect the hard copies, like your normal statements on paper. So you can easily see what you have at the closing balance and the opening balance. Is it the same as I'm having in this black and white, which nobody can easily erase? Then we also collect what we call read alone. You cannot adjust it. If you want to tamper with it, it will blink to you that you cannot delete, or it won't even respond. That's basically. So after we have ensured the data we want to use, we can then run. Usually we found out two things, unlike our normal reconciliation, which I always use because you need to bring it home closer to ourselves. When you collect your branch statement, there are some things that you don't have in your cash book that you will begin to see in your bank statements. You'll be wondering. Sometimes you are giving somebody a check, you have deducted it, you have reduced your own balance, and by the time the bank comes, you see that your balance in the bank is so big. You are wondering what happened. They have not presented that kind of check. You also have uncredited checks. You have made payments in the bank. You have increased your own cash book. But by the time you collect your bank statement, you say, what I should have should be more than this now. The teller has not done what he should do. He has not credited you. You also have transactions like charges. Sometimes some of us will give standing orders for our children, basically. For some of us, when you have a bank account, you open your children's account as once my salary comes in, just drop this so amount into my children's account. Sometimes you will forget to deduct it, but bank, they have automatically processed it, then they will deduct. So those are little things that we discover in our own normal reconciliation. But in this type of reconciliation, two things are very paramount. The first set are the transaction. There are some transactions, you will see them in the bank statements. You will not see it in the EBS-RCM database. That means the customer has actually walked in, paid. The bank has done one leg of the transaction by crediting the bank's application, but the customer has not been given a receipt. Because the only way the transaction can hit this database is when you process it and the customer is issued a receipt. So that's why we keep emphasizing that the excuse of no network should not be tolerated. They can use this application offline. So when the network is restored, the transaction will automatically drop in and the final receipt can be generated. That's one set. The second set is transactions. They will be in the EBS-RCM database. They will not be in the bank statements. That means the customer walks in, you have collected money, you issue the receipts, but in your bank application, such money are not found there. And when the customer takes the receipts, it will give value automatically because we recognize the receipts as a valid instrument of payments. Because if you take teller to Alausa, you want to process land, you want to process your pay, your LRS, they will tell you, what do we do with teller? You must present a receipt. So such receipt will have been given value for. So after we have discovered those two sets of transactions, what do we do? Correspondences are then exchanged between us and the bank. Then we copy Accountant General, we copy the inspectors of banks and LRS. So such letters will generate letters like, for transactions that are in the bank statement that are not in the EBS-RCM, we just instruct the bank to post them so that the customer, once they come back, if they take the lab to Alausa and they come back, you can easily print out receipt for them. Because definitely they will come back with that teller. They will not treat teller for them. That's one. For those transactions that we can find here, which we believe value must have been given for, we expect the bank to credit Lagos State Government. Those are the simple instructions we give when we write such letter. We copy Accountant General and we copy the Chief Inspector's bank. We have sent our letter. It is expected